Not every day on the homestead is peachy keen. Sometimes we have to face some harsh realities. We've had a couple strange occurrences on the homestead over the last few days. First, it was with our rooster. I made a disappointing discovery this morning as I came out to feed the rams. When I was coming in with their hay to feed the rams, they were getting really aggressive with each other, with the head butting. They're getting to that stage in their development. They're reaching maturity. It's fall. It's getting to be time for breeding. So naturally they're fighting for dominance. I waited for them to settle before I fully came in and gave them their feed. As I was walking up to their feed trough, I noticed Chicken Little was on the ground. I found him lying just like this. Of course, he's deceased. He was just on the other side of that fence there where Clara is. But I put him over here because Clara had just started sniffing him and I didn't want her to have him as breakfast. I don't know why he died. There are no apparent injuries just by looking at him. It could have been that he got caught up in the ram tussle. He was just not able to dodge them in time and he got trampled, or perhaps Penny was getting out of the way and accidentally trampled him. I don't know. Just gonna put on these gloves just in case it was some kind of weird disease or something that we don't want to spread, but I'm just gonna look him over real quick and just see if there's any kind of evidence. Now, rigor is setting in, but he's not in full rigor, and he's not ice cold and hard to the touch. He's cool. He's definitely not warm. He's definitely cool, but he's not really cold. If he died early in the night, I'd expect him to be near frozen, seeing how we had a good freeze last night. So I think it happened this morning, really early this morning. His neck is intact. There's no signs of blood. So there's no external trauma. Actually put my hand right here. I feel warmth. Yeah, he's actually still warm under here on his skin. So yeah, it had to have been this morning. Well, I don't know. It could have just been a heart attack. Just heart failure. You see, he's a salmon Faverel. So he has 5 toes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Most chickens have 4. This little weird 5th one right here. Chicken Little was our free-ranging rooster. He didn't really have a flock. He didn't like being with the other chickens. When he was little, they would pick on him a lot, so he just left and decided to take up residency with the ram lambs. We did give him food and water, but for the most part, he made his own living here, which was pretty cool. But the real disappointing part of this is this rooster here has been getting pretty aggressive with us lately. His attacks have become more and more frequent and more aggressive. Last night I just had this idea where, since he's getting too aggressive, that we graduate him to the stew pot and we take Chicken Little and promote him to captain of the flock over here, see if he would like that. Obviously that's not an option now. And if that wasn't enough tragedy for the week, now I have a problem with one of my pigs. For almost the last week, this sow right here has not been well. About a week ago, I moved him into this paddock right here behind me. As I do each time I move the pigs, I have to dump out their water barrel so I can move it, and then after moving it, I completely fill it. Having just filled the water, I went a couple days before I checked the water level again. Usually it's about 3, sometimes up to 4 days now that the temperature is getting cooler before I need to fill the water again. But I checked it after 2 days and the water was completely empty. The pigs had managed to turn this counterclockwise, their nipple water here, which caused it to loosen dramatically, and all the water just flowed right out. I don't know how long it had been like that. It could have been up to the full 2 days. It could have happened about an hour after I filled it initially, or it could have been 1 day. I really don't know. But as soon as I got the hose out and started refilling it, the hogs were really anxious to drink. Of course, the lead sow, she has first access to the water, and she was at it for quite a while drinking. I actually took a feed pan and set it aside and started filling that so the other girls could start drinking. They wouldn't have to wait on Big Mama to finish drinking at the water tank. But it was at that point I noticed that this sow right here was a little off and not doing well. At first it was just that she was lethargic, she was moving slowly, wasn't really as energetic as the others. The next day, I noticed that she was lying down a lot. She wasn't really getting up for eating, but I'd throw some food, I put some food out for her directly in front of her. She would eat it still. I saw her, she was still urinating, defecating, eating, and she was going to the water tank regularly for water. But she spent most of her time otherwise doing this. The last 3 days or so, we've had some lower temperatures. It's been a little cooler, and I've noticed her shivering a little bit. You might be able to see her shivering just a little bit, ever so slightly right now. Yesterday morning, I noticed she did not get up to eat at all. I brought her food, and she just sniffed it and wouldn't touch it. Then I also noticed she had some fluid coming out of her eyes, and she wasn't opening them. I opened up one of her eyelids yesterday morning to look at her eye, and I saw a lot of redness in the white of her eye area. As soon as I saw that, I just thought that she had probably received it from trauma from fighting with one of the other sows. But that wouldn't really explain her other symptoms of not eating and being super lethargic. So just a little bit ago, I checked her other eye a little bit more thoroughly, and that eye was also really red. And I looked at the cornea. The cornea over the eye was completely clouded over. So I checked again that first eye that I checked yesterday, and it too, the cornea was completely clouded over. I just put on my gloves because I don't know exactly what the problem is here, and I'm gonna try and show you guys her eye. It's okay, honey. It's okay. Little buddy, can you pick up the camera and get in close on that?
Oh.
Okay, can you get in a little closer on that, buddy? You can see the... No, hold still, honey. Hold still. It's okay. Hold on. Let's give her a second. It's okay, sweetheart. We just gotta look at your eye, okay? Okay, get in there. Can you show it? There's lots of redness in the... I know, honey. Okay, that was good. Get that close again, right there, okay? I don't know if that's coming out on the camera, but the eye is... Okay, she's not having it. And this is the other eye.
It's focusing. It's on the mom, you see?
She's looking for water, I think. Are you filming them?
Yeah, sure.
Based on the condition of her eye, looking at it, and how awkward it was for her to come find the water, I'm pretty convinced she's blind. I'm no veterinarian or anything, but she cannot see.
Someone with a pig.
Well, this is the most active I've seen her in the last couple days. I guess that's a good sign. Earlier when I did the paddock shift, when I moved the pigs from that paddock over to here, of course the 3 active pigs came right over, and she wouldn't get up at all. What? I'm filming. I'm filming. So I actually had to pick her up and carry her the best I could with her feet kind of dangling on the ground still. I carried her into this paddock here. She's lying back down over here. We'll see if we can get another look at her eyes. Can you see it at all on the screen?
Oh. sure can't. I see. Oh, she's moving away.
Can you see it?
Yes.
Can you see the red at all?
No, just a little. No, I can't. I can only just see the blue.
I looked up the symptoms online. I did a search for pig blindness and clouded cornea for pigs. And the suggestion that came up was that it is, I believe, blue cornea, something like that. It kind of matches her symptoms. However, there's not been a diagnosed case of it outside of Mexico. It's pretty much limited to Mexico, so it's probably not it. Salt poisoning also came up, and it's not from an abundance of salt ingestion. It's from potentially being dehydrated from the water tank emptying. If she didn't have access to water for a day and a half, 2 days, the concentration of salt in her bloodstream would be increased, which could cause the salt poisoning, and it does cause a blindness in the pigs, but it didn't describe the cornea having the cloudiness or the redness in the rest of the eye. It doesn't quite match all the other symptoms. Apparently with the salt poisoning, it leads to real confusion in the pig, and she doesn't really seem confused. Obviously she can't see, which is a problem, but she's doing pretty well. She's getting around pretty well, and she just doesn't give me the sense that she's confused about things. Not really knowing what to make of it, I have tried to call a vet. I left a voicemail. Of course, it's the weekend. I'm not going to hear anything. And generally, it's hard to get a vet to come out to a small homestead like this anyway, so I'm not really hopeful. But I'm really wanting to get a diagnosis so I know what I'm dealing with, and to know whether I need to just give her time and she will improve, or is she suffering and I need to euthanize her? I don't know. Another tragic component to this is we're literally less than a month away from starting the harvesting these hogs, and to have paid the money to buy her and all the resources that we've put into keeping her healthy and happy here and growing her so we could have a nice pork product. If she's got some weird disease, we're not going to be eating her, so it's a financial loss as well here. I'll be monitoring her closely. Hopefully we'll be hearing from a veterinarian soon and we can get this thing figured out.